everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming my December wrap up. So let's just get into it because there's a few books. So I've just got the stats here, so I'm going to read them out to you. So in December I read a total of 12 books, which I'm happy with. 3 5 stars, 2 4 stars, 5 3 stars and 2 2 stars. And then I also had 2 DNFs, but they're not counted towards the 12 because I didn't finish them. So I DNF'd After the Snow by Susanna Constantine. I really wanted to read this because it's compared to Downton Abbey, but I think I got like 100 pages in and it was just boring. I wasn't connected to the characters, so I DNF'd it. Then the second book I read, which I also DNF'd, was The Gift by Cecilia Ahern. Now I DNF'd this because of the main character. I hated this main character and I DNF'd that just because I couldn't stand the main character. So let's start with the 2 stars that I actually finished. So 2 stars for me are just books that are fine. So The Christmas Guest. This was alright reading it. So it's about this. In this book we follow a dog. It's from the dog's point of view, most of it, and he runs away from home because the home that he's in, they were terrible people. So yeah, the home that he's in, they were terrible people. He ran away from home and then he gets taken in by this young couple who have a daughter who is young and extremely ill. And the daughter ends up falling in love with the puppy and stuff happens. But yeah, the daughter is ill. I gave this 2 stars just because I thought it was okay, but I'm never going to read it again. I read This Time Next Year for the next book and I gave it 2.5 stars. The first part of it was like, okay, like I could get with it. And then it started getting boring, and then towards the end it got good again. I feel like the middle of this book wasn't really needed because it focused on like the side characters a lot, and I wasn't really interested in the side characters, just the main characters. So yeah, I gave that 2.5 stars. 3 of the 3 stars I haven't got with me because I unhauled them, and they are the last 3 books in the Percy Jackson series. So I think that's The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth and The Last Olympian. I gave them all 3 stars. I thought they were fine, but they weren't like, I don't know, I don't want to offend anyone, but they weren't that special in my opinion, and I'm not going to keep a series that is 5 books long and I'm never going to read again, because I thought it was okay, like it was good, but I think it was the Greek mythology that took me out of it and stuff, so maybe I'm just not a fan of Greek mythology. But yeah, the last 3 books, and I gave them all 3 stars. So yeah. I read Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnston and Lauren Miracle. It was okay, 3-star book. My favourite story in this was probably the first one, and I think that's the only one I'd honestly read again, because the other 2 stories were like, they were just fine. So yeah, I really enjoyed the first story though, but I gave it 3 stars because the other 2 I didn't like as much. And then I read Away with the Penguins by Hazel Pryor, and I enjoyed this book. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was like almost a 4-star book, but I didn't enjoy the penguin aspect of it. There was like these penguin vlogs and it was full of like facts on penguins and stuff like that, which if you're into, it's good. The first 4-star book is Tinsel by Sybil Pounder. So in this book we follow Blanche Claus, who is like an orphan. She's on the streets. Yeah, she's on the streets. But one day she's sleeping under a bridge and she gets given this snowball with a dancing Christmas tree inside, and that leads her to her adventure. It leads her to her best friend Rinky, but then stuff happens and yeah. I love this book, I love this, and I gave it 4 stars. Next book I read is, well, not the next book, but the next book that I gave 4 stars is City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare, which is the 4th book in the Mortal Instruments series. This was the weakest book in my opinion. There wasn't a ton of action, and I really wanted action. But that might have been just because this was the first book in the second series, because the Mortal Instruments is supposed to be split into 2. So this was kind of slow, reintroducing us back to the characters. And yeah, that might have been good if you waited the 4 years for this book, but I didn't, and yeah, I just found it a bit boring. However, I will say that when Magnus came in, it started getting good, so I think that's a sign that Magnus is my favourite character, because literally as soon as he came in the book, that's when this started getting good. So I gave it 4 stars. I didn't really know whether to lower it down from 5 stars just because of that, but I thought it is my least favourite, but I still love it, so I just decided to give it 4 stars. Okay, so the books that I gave 5 stars are all in the same series, and they are the Clockwork books by Cassandra Clare, The Infernal Devices. Every one of these books I gave 5 stars, every single one. Jem was my favourite. I love Jem. I'll never not love Jem. He's everything. But yeah, I feel like this series, loads of people said that this was better than the Mortal Instruments, and I can 100% say I think that's true. Like, the writing's better. I feel like the characters from the first book was instantly likeable, whereas in the Mortal Instruments I didn't feel that way. Like, for Clariette, I thought she was annoying. But yeah, I enjoyed these books. I gave them all 5 stars, and it kind of makes me sad, but I think there's going to be, her future series are going to like join into this one, because I know all her series linked together, and there was still like unanswered questions left at the end of Clockwork Princess, so I think they're going to be tied into some of the other books in her other series, maybe the Mortal Instruments. I know one question will be answered in the Mortal Instruments, but yeah, I gave them all 5 stars, and they're all the books I read in December. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.